Frisco, Texas, this man is angry that a Black Lives Matter protest is blocking traffic. They can't be in the middle of the road, he says, and now he's about to engage in white privilege. Yes, he just slapped that young black woman's arm and phone. Now he's got his fists up. There is the cop. Let's see what happens with the legal observer in the red t-shirt. Yes, that was a push. The police officer's going to reach for the taser, right? No, because this is a large, threatening white man, not an African American. It's also Texas, the South. Hello, everybody. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for watching. This incident occurred as demonstrators were protesting the death of an African American named Marvin Scott III. Scott, age 26, was arrested at an outlet mall in Allen, Texas, for possession of less than 2 ounces of marijuana. That's a misdemeanor. Still, he was transported to the county detention facility. The local sheriff says Scott was acting strangely at the jail. If officers had bothered to look up his record, they would have seen that Scott was a schizophrenic. In other words, he had a disability. Still, the officers placed him on a restraint bed, sprayed him with mace, covered his face with a spit mask. Scott then became unresponsive and was pronounced at a local hospital dead on arrival. The medical examiner recently said that Scott's death was a homicide that occurred during a restraint struggle with law enforcement. 7 officers have been fired and a state investigation is underway, which could lead to criminal charges. By all accounts, this has been a huge local news story. There have been multiple news conferences by the Scott family and plenty of Black Lives Matter demonstrations. Most motorists at this particular intersection seemed to understand what was going on and waited patiently. But this jackass decided to get out of his truck and try to start something. I appreciate the argument that a cop's job in a volatile situation like this is to try and de-escalate things. And perhaps this officer was wise to stay cool and calmly guide the man away from the crowd, even though the man had just slapped the arm of a woman recording him. But imagine if that had been a large black man who slapped the arm and phone of a young white woman. Would the police officer have been this restrained? And that's the problem with policing and attitudes across the United States. There are often 2 different standards about how to respond to a potential threat. If you're white and angry about a protest blocking your way and you just assaulted somebody, you get a calm escort back to your vehicle. If you were black, watch out. And again, this protest in Frisco, Texas stemmed from the killing of a black man in law enforcement custody, a man who was only detained in the first place because of a marijuana misdemeanor.
Say his name.
Marvin Scott III!
Say his name.
Marvin Scott III!
By contrast, the impatient white motorist gets to throw around F-bombs, assault a woman, push a guy, and square off to punch people. And there's no arrest, no trip to the local jail. Does white privilege exist? You bet it does.